Hey, what's going on, guys, girls?
Well, hello, Mr. Hard Drive.
Yeah, it's flashing red, okay. Alright, I'm not sure if I did a video on this one or not. I don't think so. 3 pages. Even my old invoice. Cool, I like that.
What? You did a video on your own invoice? Huh? What is that supposed to mean?
This is for invoice, Ranger, puck mount, phone number is, verify, looking forward to getting it all hooked up. Take your time, do it right as you know.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. You need to get a life. I mean, really.
And this is for John. Alright, let's take a look at this. And there's a couple other things I wanted to cover.
Jesus, about fucking time, dude.
It's been a long time coming. People have been asking these questions. There's a lot of other people out there that do their own little thing, and I usually try to avoid even talking about it.
Uh-oh. Here we go. You try to avoid talking about it. What are you, some kind of, higher authority or something? That you don't feel that you need to talk about it?
But we'll get into it. Like adding channels and stinger boards. Some of the stuff I've done, yeah, I have 80s, 1980s, and some of the stingers, but nothing like what's available today.
Well, I would have hoped that we would have had some technological advancement. That stuff that was available in the 80s is certainly not as good as the stuff we have available today. So what's your point?
Real bipolar transistors up to like maybe 2004.
So you're saying that the company RM Italy that makes the Stinger, the 8203 amplifier, up until 2004 used real bipolar transistors, and now they're using fake ones? Is that what you just said?
We'll cover that in a minute, though. Let's take a look at this 955.
Okay, let's do that. Proceed.
Alright. Yeah, you see the meter go woo woo woo, all that woo 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 stuff. But it's a splatter box. It appears that someone just opened up the AMC on this radio. But as you can see, all the distortion in it. It's a massive amount of distortion. To about this point, the radio is okay. And then after that point, not only is this the splatter, the intermodulation distortion. Let's see how much we actually have.
Okay, so at this point, I had to consult an RF engineering friend of mine, and we watched this roughly 30-second piece of the video probably a good 6 to 8 times. And in the end, he had more questions than he had answers, such as, why is the oscilloscope misadjusted to the point where we can't see the top of the waveform? Why does he insist on running the oscilloscope to hide the top of the waveform? We can't see that, so we don't know what that's doing, because it just lacks the basic ability to adjust an oscilloscope. And the second question was, why does he feel that there's some form of intermodulation distortion that he has to measure on an AM CB radio where he has a single tone being sent into the radio and a single frequency that's being transmitted? So where and why would he think that there was any form of intermodulation distortion? It just caused more questions to be asked than there were answers.
It's not bad at 1 megahertz either way. Let's see.
So this is where my RF engineering bud was just throwing his hands up in the air. He didn't understand what he was doing. He couldn't understand why he was measuring, why he had a span at 1 megahertz. He didn't have enough information to draw a conclusion. And his belief was that this was some form of smoke and mirrors, because he wasn't doing a proper check for intermodulation distortion to begin with.
I don't see none on this one, but there's different versions of these radios that'll cause it, and
Oh yeah, so it wasn't there after all. But you saw it before, and now you don't see it. So, what are we looking at? Where's the fire? Oh wait, there really wasn't a problem, was there, after all? And now you have to explain it away as, oh, well, there's some versions that'll do it. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Some people say it doesn't matter. They're clueless.
Oh yeah, hello Fox News, some people say. Well, let's take a look at what you said right here, right now.
Not only is this splatter, intermodulation distortion, it's not bad at 1 megahertz either way. I don't see none on this one.
Oh yeah, we went from having intermodulation distortion to it's not bad to, oh no, it doesn't have any. Wow, dude. I mean, that was really quick too. Wow.
Or they're just taking your money is what they're doing.
Yeah, what do you think you're doing? Lying on camera while it's being recorded, dumb enough to upload it on YouTube, and taking people's money. Huh. Looks like you, dude. Looks exactly like you.
I know some people get upset at that, but it is the way it is.
Oh, it is just the way it is, huh? So, I guess that's something that you enjoy doing yourself, taking people's monies, because that's the way it is, man. That's the way it is.
If you're seeing harmonics, you're seeing them at all, you gotta imagine these radios have traps and filters to eliminate that, so...
Yes, they do. But how would the end user see harmonics? And what do these harmonics have to do with your intermodulation distortion that was there, then it might be there, but not bad, then wasn't there? So what do these two things have to do with each other?
There's actually an abundance more than what you think or see. The radio's generating that, it's drawing current, dissipating the heat.
You're losing everybody, dude. Yes, the radio is going to have some harmonics that it generates because of the laws of physics. And yes, those are going to be filtered out. But those filters are not going to cause it to not generate them, not make heat, and not have to dissipate it. It's still there. You might not see it on the antenna connector, but up to a point in the circuit, it's still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. So, what are you talking about?
Okay, it's generating a lot of heat. When you eliminate the harmonics, you have more power at the fundamental frequency.
Huh? You're filtering the harmonics. You're not eliminating them. They're still there. If you look at the input of the filter, it's still there. You'll still see it. They're not eliminated. And no, the power at the fundamental frequency, if the filter is done properly and it's low loss at the fundamental frequency, then you're going to see the power on the fundamental frequency that was always there. It didn't just magically increase because of the filter. It's the same level, depending on the loss of the filter, that it always was.
The smartest way to doing it is you don't need to produce that power. You keep the radio running cleaner, cooler, longer. And yeah, we do the maximum. So let's take a look at that.
Oh yeah, let's do. I'd love to see the max mod, especially since several fairly prominent technicians and engineers out here on the internet have already debunked the max mod as bullshit.
Then especially if you put it into an amplifier. Let's go to 30 kilohertz. And of course, without certification, it's useless. If they don't show you everything and the certifications.
Oh yeah, dude. Where are your certifications? What are your certifications in? Let's see those. I haven't seen those. And I watched about 40 of your videos. And you've mentioned this in probably a good 20 of them, and I haven't seen you show them once. What are your certifications? Where are your certifications? Please show those. Oh, and you didn't show everything because you had your oscilloscope misadjusted so we couldn't see the whole waveform. Fancy that.
They're stroking you, man.
Exactly why I'm doing this video, to show everybody that you are stroking them instead. Taking their money and feeding them bullshit. Just bullshit.
Alright, let's take a close look at this. Here, watch these two at the same time.
Oh, this ought to be good. I can't wait.
Let me forget the meter. Always forget the meters. Doesn't mean as much. I think you guys are catching on. Let's try to get that on there right. See it spreading out? See the distortion? That should focus. See all the distortion in there?
Oh yeah, because once again, we can't see the whole waveform because you've clipped the top and the bottom of it off. So we can't see where said distortion would be at the top or the bottom. Now can we? It's funny that you just keep on cutting the top and the bottom off. Why do you misadjust your instrument and then misadjust your camera? Are you hiding something? Let's see the whole properly adjusted waveform on a properly adjusted scope for starters. Let's start with that first.
That's kind of sort of like what I'm going to get into here shortly about inductors and Q factors, resonance.
Okay, people. This doesn't have anything to do with Q factors or quality factors. This is more smoke and mirrors, okay? We're looking at AM modulation, and now we're on quality factors, Q factors. This is where I had to consult with my RF engineering friend, and he was befuddled by what he's looking at here, because he couldn't understand how we went from AM modulation, which is the most simple modulation on the planet, to quality factors. It was what? It just confusion. What are you talking about?
This isn't exactly the same, but in a way it is. It's all a tuned circuit.
Adjusting the modulation on an AM carrier is not tuning an RF circuit. They're not the same thing. They're not close. They're in no way, shape, or form the same thing. What are you talking about?
This circuit's not tuned.
There's a big difference between adjusting the modulation of a carrier versus the tuning of an RF circuit. But you clearly don't know the difference. So maybe you ought to think about getting another job there, huh?
Without being able to look for this, measure this, how are you going to know it's there? See it?
And now we finally can. And when I had my engineer friend look at it, because keep in mind we watched the video together, he didn't particularly think it was terrible. It wasn't the best, but he didn't think it was terrible. So a little bit of adjustment and it would have been just fine. Not really a whole big deal. And that was from an engineer who looked at that and said, that's not really that bad. It really isn't.
It's all lost power. You're drawing current, generating a lot more heat.
Now, what he did tell me was, yeah, there's more power. Yeah, you're generating more heat because that's the laws of physics. And maybe you're encroaching upon another CV channel, but it is what it is. You know, it's misadjusted, so just turn the modulation down and you'll be fine. It's not as big of a deal as you are actually portraying it.
And dirty. No, it's just a timeout timer. Alright, so let's, just for the heck of it, let's see kind of how it's receiving. Not even 120 barely. We'll get into this radio here shortly. Okay. Q factor.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the Q factor. This is gonna be good.
It's like the performance of a coil. You know, it's loss in resonant bandwidth. A lot like an antenna. Naturally, with an antenna, the best antenna is a very narrow banded antenna. It's only resonant really at one frequency. That's the best antenna you're going to have for one frequency. The wider it is.
Yeah, dude, that pretty much describes every antenna out there. They're gonna be good and perfect on one frequency, but once you move, yeah, it's not quite as perfect anymore now, isn't it?
Well, some are going to say it's good, covering more frequencies, maybe even another band.
Yeah, because that's what makes communications possible. Gee, dude, where are you getting this from?
But then you're going to pick up more noise also.
Yeah, dude, you see, there's this thing called trade-offs, and more noise, and you get to use more frequencies. So, what's your point?
Other noise of harmonics of those other frequencies. You just get a lot more noise. So it's a two-way street. A more broader banded like inductor or coil can carry more frequencies also.
No, they don't carry frequencies, they resonate at a frequency. Dear God, why is this so hard for people to see that you are full of shit? That's just what you are. You are full of shit. And I understand why people believe what you say. And that's because you sound so sure of it. Do you realize that what you're saying isn't true? And I don't know what to say, man. I think you should, maybe get some fact checkers before you put the shit up, just like I do.
And people are always asking hard drive, should I just get a Cobra 29 and put a channel kit in? And I still got some A pluses. I was just digging in my damn drawer. I don't want to be digging too much stuff in here.
Yeah, dude, you left yourself wide open on that about digging into drawers and digging into stuff. Yeah, but I'm not gonna go there. Because, well, I'm better than you are, so.
I got them saved for possibly a couple radios in the future. Maybe we'll do another 29 or two. We don't do any 29s. We haven't done 29s for a long time.
Oh, let me guess. They're not 10-meter radios. Oh, no. Or is it because somebody put a capacitor on the, backwards on the power switch and gave you a little bit fright? I wonder which one of those it really is.
Just a couple customers. But it's like, okay, they want a 29 and they want a Stinger. Yeah, I did a lot of that in the past. A lot of them. Many thousands of them. And it's profitable.
Oh, I'm sure it was profitable. And I'm sure that what you're doing right now, which is pulling the wool over everybody's eyes in plain sight, like you are, the best place to hide is in plain sight. And now I'm focused on you. And we're looking at everything you're doing, and we are going to uncover this bullshit. Because this bullshit cannot be allowed to go on. We already did Snake Fail Customs, we already did Joker Fail, we already did the Windy Shitty. Yeah, you, sir, are a piece of shit. And we've already shown enough that you're a liar. And I'm sure that all of those things were profitable. But this happens to be more profitable, right? I'm sure it is.
It is. It's profitable doing that.
We will give you one kudo for at least admitting that it's profitable. And I'm sure very profitable. So we'll give you that one.
But when the exports started coming out with more power, say around, 2000, around 2000, and the different classifications of amplification to signify the difference between AM and sideband, they're putting out 50 watts almost. Real watts, not the meter beater crap that you see. It was decent. Plus, you can tune these radios to cover, 2 megahertz bandpass.
No. Those radios were designed to cover that frequency range. You didn't tune them to cover 2 megahertz. They came out of the box with the ability to do that. They were designed that way. Those radios that had the band selector that you could go from 26 to 29 megahertz relatively quickly with the flip of the switch, or those 2950s where you could pretty much go from 26 to 30 megahertz. Those radios, those things that you're talking about, those new export radios, those were designed to do it. You didn't tune them to do that range. They came out of the box doing it.
So it's like, you know what? Why do this? Why take people's money when they don't know it? When you know the difference, you don't do it.
So you just admitted that you did that. You did the stingers and the 29s and all that wonderful stuff, and that it was profitable and you were taking people's money, and then you decided, well, I shouldn't take people's money. No, what you did was find a new way to take people's money, which is to run this run down junky equipment that you have that you don't even know how to use, that you claim to have calibration certificates for, and you claim to have certifications for whatever it is that you do, but we never see those things. So why don't you show them to us? And if you show them, maybe I'll shut up.
And then, Turbo 4600. I mean, the RCI 2970. And there's the old Ranger too, the 100 watter from way back when.
That's right. All of those radios were designed to cover several megahertz of range. You didn't tune them for that. They came out of the box doing it.
So I say, okay, cool. Some people like to have that experimental radio or experiment on your radio, and they make a fortune. But let me tell you something. Take a 29, put different finals in it, put echo board talkback channels. Depending on, how you purchased it, when you purchased it, $79 radio. A stock Cobra 29 radio is worth more stock. Literally, the ignorant, and that's not a bad word, the ignorant crowd, they hear picked and tuned. Well, that means less, way less. Somebody get in there, fiddledits, and just calling it picked and tuned.
Which is exactly what you seem to call it. You're the fine-tuned CD shop, remember? You're fine-tuning these things. You're not fine-tuning anything. You're a blowhard.
So now you spent a couple $300 or whatever you spent for all this junk that's stuck into your radio. Looks like a spaghetti bowl. You got $300 in a radio. Now it's not even worth 50.
We could say the same about your work. I don't think it's worth the toilet paper that I wipe my ass with. But somebody out there thinks it has value. And it's the same with that radio. Somebody out there thinks that it has value. Maybe the owner, maybe some other guy. So, what are you talking about? Value is subjective. Because you don't think it's worth anything doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't think it's worth anything either. What are you getting at here? Let's come to the point, please.
No one wants to get inside. I've worked on so many thousands of radios like that. I don't do them anymore. Period.
As is your right. But saying that nobody wants to get into it and do anything with it, that's, again, subjective. So, do you know for a fact that you've gone to everyone who works on radios and asked them if they would get into what you describe as a spaghetti bowl Cobra 29 and work on it? I think we're going to find several people that will work on the spaghetti bowl Cobra 29. So, it isn't nobody. It's you. So, maybe you should stick to what you know, which doesn't appear to be much.
It's like buy new or better. It's cheaper in the long run. So you buy something like this. Alright? AM and sideband.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure you will be there with your hand out to sell it to him, right? So what you're preaching here is get rid of your Cobra 29 and buy one of these radios from me, right? So this just turned into a sales pitch.
As long as the radio is professionally tuned, and there are updates that you can do just about any radio, if you know how to do any form of reverse engineering.
Oh, professionally tuned. Not from you. That doesn't look like professionally tuning to me. You couldn't even properly identify intermodulation distortion. So, who would take anything that you say as the truth? Because you've been already busted lying.
It's in a nutshell. The manufacturers, kind of scrimped the pennies. They rubbed them together to try to get as much out of them as they could. And that's how they manufacture them. A penny here and a penny there. Then you got like the 980s and other radios. There's guys doing these channel kits. Well, they're doing more than just a channel kit, but still.
Dude, you really should stick to what you know instead of trying to take a swipe at others. Because I know who you're talking about, and you will lose badly. Why don't you just ask Windy Shitty how badly he lost? He lost badly. Do you really want to go down that road and mess with that guy? he's way more respected than you are.
You know, you got a 4-watt radio, a little bit more than that, designed to be a 4-watt radio, FCC type. But it's no longer FCC type the minute they take the screws out. Now you gotta watch them.
Oh, we're gonna watch him. But where do you get this notion that it's no longer FCC approved if you take the screws out? So, if you walked into a store, bought a radio, took it out of the box, removed the screws, looked inside of it, put the screws back into the radio, you saying that it's no longer FCC approved because the screws have been removed from it and put back? Hell, if you just took the covers off of the radio and threw it down on the seat of your car with an antenna, and you didn't do anything to the radio, it's still an approved radio. Where do you get this shit from? Do you believe the shit you're saying?
They're pretty witty in how they word things. So now you got just a $135 delivered to your door radio, plus whatever they charge you to do these modifications. But the radio's not going to work according to what they say, unless they tell you that it's not going to work correctly. The Q factor is not capable of maintaining what it needs to maintain. The VCO can lock. You can do that and work. You can.
VCOs have Q factors too. And if the VCO can do it, why can't the other parts of the radio do it? Do you know that? Have you tried it? Have you done any measurements of it? Have you done any of the calculations required? You got my RF engineering friend over here wanting to cover his ears because it's just so comical. He laughed at that one, like he actually laughed because it made no sense. The Q factor won't allow it. It's literally what he said. I should get a mic on him and so we can record him. It's the Q factor. What is he talking about? Yeah, he's over there walking around right now laughing. Sorry, dude, you're the butt end of a joke. You're just stupid.
It's not going to be all that great on receive. It's going to work, be a great scanner.
Oh, wow. Right now you're just spouting complete nonsense, with absolutely no fact to back that up. The Q factor, it's going to have poor receive. Do you know? Have you tried it? What are you talking about?
But when you go to the transmit side, that's a whole different animal. Very unstable. If there's somebody out there who wants me to test one, get in touch with me on Facebook, send it. No butchered up stuff.
I did contact you on Facebook. You blocked me. Why? Because I offered to send you a 980. I would have gone to eBay, bought a brand new 980, sent it to you, so that you can do these whiz-bang measurements and tests of yours to somehow prove that this radio couldn't do what it allegedly can do. And, well, you blocked me. So what do you have to say about that?
Another thing was, people have been asking me about used radios. There's a lot of them on the market right now. Some people, that's how they make their living or whatever they do, however they do it. I don't follow what people do.
You just talked about a 980 of which there is only one person that does any sort of extreme modification to them. You described it, but you don't follow what people do. You talked about 29s and other radios with stingers. There's really only one person that's doing those. Maybe two. You obviously are following what they do. So, you don't follow what people do? You just talked about it. You're talking about these guys that are doing these things, but you don't follow them? You clearly are following them, now aren't you?
You guys know what I do, period. We blow the myths, the myth busters, the screwdriver jockeys, everything else.
That's funny, because I just blew some of yours out of the water now, didn't I? That intermediate distortion that was there, that wasn't that bad, that turned out to not be there, and oh, it's only on certain versions. Yeah. Like that one that we just debunked? What, 10 minutes ago?
Can't help it, that's what we do. But when you come to use radios, you would want to test them geographically.
What? You mean like drive the radio to Washington State and try it there, and then maybe go to Maine and drive it there? Or are you talking about maybe taking the radio to Europe and trying it there, or maybe to Australia and Asia? What do you mean test it geographically? What the fuck does that mean, dude?
What I mean by that is, has there been a flood or a hurricane in the last, say, 5 years? Or the last 6 months? Or the last couple of weeks since the last hurricane?
What do you live like under a rock? There's hurricanes every year. They strike land every year. Lots of people get displaced by hurricanes every year. This always happens. So in the last 5 years, yeah, dude, is that even a question? What are you talking about?
Look it up. It doesn't even matter if the radio has been underwater. That doesn't matter. It does, FUBAR.
Okay, I'll give you that one. You misspoke. But, yeah. Okay, you had me laughing there for a moment.
Even though it comes on and it might work, you don't want it. It's going to nickel and dime you. Alright? When you really need it, it's not going to work, is how it goes. But if it was in a flood environment, all that massive humidity inside of a building, or a garage, or a car, an attic, and it was flooded, the whole area around you, the air conditioning and heat wasn't on anymore.
I can't see how the air conditioning or the heat's really gonna save it if it was flooded, but okay, dude, you say so.
And the heat, all those little water droplets and the moisture, like being compressed inside the radio, because the case isn't going to keep that moisture up. It's going to get inside. It's going to get inside your coils, your inductors. It's going to get inside everything, your potentiometers,
Well, I guess you guys in humid climates are just fucked, because, Mr. Fine Fail CD Shop here says that your radios are trash. Oh, shucks.
You can usually spot them when there's like rust on the screws or even on the inside. Sometimes you won't have that. So before you buy yourself a heartache, I know a lot of people sell a lot of radios. They're all over the place. I don't get into used radios at all. I've been doing this too long to understand that. There are people that do used radios and refurbish them, rebuild them, from the old tube types to the old Unidens and Cobras. Get in touch with them.
Well, Mr. Fail Sherman, are you telling people that they should go and visit Snake Oil Customs? Oh, wow. Are you now in bed with Timmy Boy here? Whoa, that is a development right there in itself.
Those are usually people that you want to get in touch with that solely do that one thing only. It's like what we do, tune only.
Yeah, we know, tune only. Because you couldn't repair that kid's Cobra 200. You kept it, you wouldn't ship it back to him. And now you have your minions jumping all over this kid because all he wanted was his radio back. That's all he wanted from you. You ignored him, and oh boo-hoo, you're now the victim because he sent you a radio that you couldn't fix. No, dude, you're a fraud. You're just a fraud. You couldn't fix it, and so that's why you do the tune only. All these technicians that are coming forward saying, hey, Mark Sherman has asked me to repair radios for him. You send them the radio, they repair it, you get it back, and then you do your tune. And then you call it repaired. You repaired it. No, you outsourced the work. So, that's how you want to do things? Hey, that's okay. But don't say, oh, I do tune only. No, it's because you only can do that. You can't do anything else.
That's what you look for. What they only do one thing of. So if they're only doing like Cobra 29s, that's what you want. Only exports, that's what you want. Only amps, that's what you want. Only used, that's what you want. And check their track record.
Yeah, we checked your track record. You're actually on several blacklists for lying, cheating, and stealing. So, you're just a scammer. And, once again, you're here telling people to check track records of others. Why don't you check your track record? How about that?
You know how that goes too. You have to sift between all the bullshit that's out there. And there's a lot of it out there.
Yeah, I've been sitting through 34 minutes and 20 seconds of it right here, right now, listening to bullshit out of one person's mouth. Yours.
But you can easily tell who's got integrity or not.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's take a look.
Not only is this the splatter, the intermodulation distortion, it's not bad at 1 megahertz either way. I don't see none on this one.
Yeah, dude. You got some fucking integrity, don't you? Yeah, that's integrity. Oh yeah, look at this. Oh, well, yeah. Come on, dude. Integrity? Yeah, you got it? I don't think so.
I hope some of this is informative. Watch how you blow your spend. Blow your money or spend your money. They can't show you.
Oh yeah, they can't show you. They can't show you.
Not only is this the splatter, intermodulation distortion, it's not bad at 1 megahertz either way. I don't see none on this one.
Well, I guess you couldn't show me either. So much of a shame.
Well, you know. Have a great night. It's Hard Drive 163 down by the Rio Grande. I'm out of here. Click, click.
And there you have it. Yet another CD Kid video on another CD hack job that's just trying to take your money. And this one's clever. He's telling you that other people are trying to take your money. But he's not, because he's honest. And he shows you everything. Well, I just showed you that no, he doesn't show you everything. And when he tries to show you something and it backfires, he then backpedals and says, oh gee, well it's not this version. Yeah, dude, you're a real fucking winner. You're a piece of shit. This is CD Kid signing off. See you later.